Hello. Hello there. I'm so glad you're here. It really is good to see you because if you're here, I know you're following the facts and I know you're on the right side of history because it has been quite the week for this Justin Baldoni case. And a lot of us are sitting here going, that's funny because I thought that was going to happen. So, yeah, there has been this theory that Justin Baldoni had kind of been set up by the people he hired because he was so lost in his self-delusion and his lack of self-awareness that he became a target for a group of people that call themselves the Dream Team, aka Melissa Nathan, Brian Friedman, and Jed Wallace. And he's always denied that he had anything to do with smearing a woman called Blake Lively. He just hired them to protect his own reputation. But a few of us out here just didn't believe that. And so tonight, we are going to go through his deposition, which kind of shows that he got played. And just like Drake got played. And I'm here for it. So yeah, this is a completely new format for me, by the way. It was, I can use this device and I can show you the document, but it doesn't have a camera. So I'm like, document, camera. I did a little test. The audio sounded okay. If it's not okay, let me know. But I thought it'd be cool to have the document up and I'll read through it so you can read with me. So here we are. This is document 5. And should be, yeah. We can see it says here, video recorded deposition of Justin Baldoni, Los Angeles, California, Monday, October 6th, 2025. Yeah. So it was filed on the 3rd of December, 25. It's been up a couple of days. And if we skip to page 136, because that's where it starts, we're going to go straight into them discussing Melissa Nathan. So if you don't know, I do have a video about it. I have talked about it in other videos. I know not a lot of people watch them, but they're there because once this all starts turning towards what really happened, people might want to see it. But it did come out this week also. This is why it has been quite the week. Andy Signal, a bit of a douchebag that I have been talking about in videos ever since I started my channel. Because I came to find out what he got up to in his DMs, which he wants to be kept redacted in the, he's part of this lawsuit now because he refused to hand over any evidence that could show that he wasn't involved. So now the judge is saying, no, you've got to hand over all of your evidence and you lied. But yeah, he has been in direct contact with this woman, Melissa Nathan, who called her her bestie, and we believe Brian Friedman, her lawyer. Not her, well, her lawyer in this case, but he's also an attorney that works in LA, working for douchebags just like her. So we have suspected that these people kind of work together as a package. And then Jed Wallace on the side, he's there to create fake websites and social media accounts to make it look like the people they're defending are in the right and the people they're fighting are the problem. And so, what's been so interesting this week is, like I said, the evidence is very much not going their way. So, let's start. But I believe he thought, I don't know why it starts at page 136, but I wanted to just jump straight into this bit. But I believe he thought she was very good at her job. Do you know what led him to believe that? This is Mrs. Shapiro asking Justin Baldoni. Answer, I don't. Question, did you have any personal role in making the decision to hire Melissa Nathan over any of the other crisis PRs that may have been recommended? Justin, no. Question, are you aware of where Jamie got the names for potential crisis communication professionals that he was considering? Answer, I imagine from Ms. Shapiro. Mr. Baldoni, don't speculate. Justin, no, actually, I don't. Question, Ms. Shah, you don't know? Justin, no. Question, are you aware of where Jamie got the names? Sorry, you don't know? No. Do you know if he or anyone else at Wayfarer asked Stephanie Jones for her views on crisis communications professionals that you should hire? Answer, I don't. Question, do you know if she recommended Melissa Nathan or not? Answer, if Stephanie Jones recommended, I now know that she didn't. You now know that she didn't? This is me interrupting. Let me just remind you, because this is what I like to do. In case you don't know, there was a text sent to Justin Baldoni on the 26th of July, 2024. That was 5 days before Melissa Nathan was officially onboarded. And it was sent to Jamie Heath, Tara Hanks, and Justin Baldoni. And it's from Stephanie Jones. And it says, I just downloaded Tara on some dark stuff, but please, we cannot work with Melissa Nathan. There is a lot of dirty work she has done. Very dirty. Not someone we would want in Justin's orb or for Blake's PR to use as weapon against him. So that's just a little reminder of that. Back to the deposition. Question, how did you come to that understanding? Ms. Shapiro, Mr. Baldoni, don't answer. Justin, no. Ms. Shapiro, if the information came from your lawyers. Justin, yes, I can answer this. Stephanie had sent me a text about Melissa Nathan. By Ms. Shah. Question, you knew at the time that Stephanie did not recommend that you hire Melissa Nathan, correct? Ms. Shapiro, objection. Justin, I knew that Stephanie did not like Melissa Nathan, yes. Question, and Stephanie warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan, isn't that right? I think you could put it that way. With my interaction with Stephanie, yeah. And were you aware that Stephanie also warned Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks against hiring Melissa Nathan? I was only aware of what she texted me. Are you aware that Wayfarer and you decided to hire Melissa Nathan over Stephanie Jones's objections? Answer: I would imagine so, yes. Ms. Shah: okay, I'm going to show you what's marked as a document. Exhibit 5. It's a text message between you and Stephanie Jones, dated July 26, 2024. Is this the text message that you were referring to that Stephanie Jones sent you, where she warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan? Answer: it appears to be. And this was sent on July 26, 2024. So does this refresh your recollection that you were considering bringing on crisis PR before July 26, 2024? Yes. Okay, and as you recall, Stephanie Jones sent you a link at the top of the text thread, right? Yes. You said you never clicked on that. Is any of this You said you never clicked on that. Is any of this? Oh, then we jump a page. I think he said I didn't want to be involved in any of this, so I trusted them to make the decision. I don't believe she told me anything. Okay, she didn't need to tell you anything. She sent you a link to something, which we don't know what it is, but anyone with a brain cell would have thought, yeah, that doesn't look good. Question: okay, do you understand from the text message that Stephanie is telling you and Jamie and Tara that it might not be good for you to be associated with someone like Melissa Nathan based on the type of tactics that she has used in the past? Answer: that seems to be an accurate summary. And that if people knew Sorry, I lost my place. If people knew that you were associated with Melissa Nathan, or specifically, if Blake's PR came to find out that you had associated yourself with Melissa Nathan, they could use that against you because of who Melissa Nathan was, right? Ms. Shapiro: objection, objection. The witness: I can't speculate to what she meant by that, but it seems to me she says Blake's PR to use as a weapon, so. Okay, now Wayfarer and you, are you done with this one? I think so. Here you go. Wayfarer and you went ahead and hired Melissa Nathan after, and despite Stephanie Jones's warnings, right? Objection. I believe so. And there came a time in August after you had hired Melissa Nathan that the Hollywood Reporter published an article about the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, right? Yes. I'm going to show you that article. It's a document we're going to mark as Exhibit 7. Thank you. It's an article from the Hollywood Reporter dated August 14th, 2024 that says Justin Baldoni hires crisis PR veteran amid It Ends With Us rift. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And it goes on to say, the director and star has retained the services of Melissa Nathan, who represented Johnny Depp during the Amber Heard trial. Do you see that? Excuse me? On the second page, yes. Okay. You were pretty upset when this article came out, right? I don't remember what I was feeling. You were worried when this article came out that being publicly associated with Melissa Nathan might make it look like you had something to be guilty for, right? Objection. No, I think I was just not happy that my crisis PR was being publicized. I don't think it had anything to do with Nathan, Melissa Nathan. Why were you not happy that your crisis PR was publicized? Because it felt like more of kind of the kind of thing that felt like somebody would plant to draw more attention and fan a flame to something. Fan a flame to what? To public speculation, the fan theories of why I wasn't doing press with anybody, and what were the fan theories at the time about why you weren't doing press with anyone? I remember there being a lot of talk about all of the cast unfollowing me, why I wasn't doing press with any of the other cast members. I don't remember the date that this came out, but I don't know if I had already done the premiere or not at this point. You had. But I had also never read an article or seen an article about somebody hiring crisis PR, so I found it odd. And you thought it made you look bad, right? Yeah, I think I did. You thought it made you look like you had something to hide. I think I had never been involved in anything like this, and I wasn't used to seeing my name in the press in this way at all. And I certainly didn't want my name out there in a negative way. Side note, that's why I was spending 45 grand a month. Ah, this is why this is such a beautiful moment. You thought it made it look like you had something to hide, and that had to do with the allegations of on-set abuse, right? Objection. Justin, I'm unaware of any allegations of on-set abuse. Ms. Shah, to this day, you're unaware of any allegations against you of on-set abuse? Objection. Abuse? I'm aware of allegations as were written in the New York Times article and in this lawsuit, yeah. What do you understand those allegations to be? I understand that I have been alleged to sexually harass Mrs. Lively, and then that I have alleged to have launched a retaliation smear campaign. Do you recall articles coming out around this time that called your on-set behavior abusive? Objection! I believe I do. Okay, so you understand that was one of the fan theories that was floating around about why you weren't involved in publicity and why all the cast had unfollowed you, right? Objection. Not necessarily. Well, yes or no? Objection. No. Ms. Shah. You're not aware of any fan theories at the time that one of the reasons that the cast unfollowed you and that you were not involved in a lot of the marketing of the film or publicity around the film was because you engaged in abusive or toxic behavior on set. Objection. I'm not aware those were fan theories. No. Any theories? Objection. I'm aware that there were leaks to the press that accused me of that, but I'm not aware of fan theories. Okay, 39, please. Exhibit 8, marked for identification. I'm going to hand you a document that's marked as Exhibit 8. It's a text thread between Henny Grace, that's his alias name, Melissa Nathan, you. I think that's it. Uh-huh. On August 14th, Bates stamp Nathan _ several zeros 3972. Do you see that? I do. Who is Henny Grace? That used to be my alias, but it's now become public, so no longer useful as an alias? All right. So this is a text thread between you and Melissa Nathan. Is that right? It appears to be, yes. On August 14th, which is the day after the Hollywood Reporter article that we just looked at was published. Do you see that? Yes. Okay. And halfway down the page at 8:03 a.m., you write, talk to me about this. So I'm really frustrated about this crisis PR leak and framing it as Johnny Depp's firm to poise that I have something to hide and also that there was abuse. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And so you were concerned about the Hollywood Reporter article, framing it specifically with retaliation to Melissa Nathan's prior association with Johnny Depp, that it might mean that you had something to hide and that there was abuse on set, right? Objection. Yes, actually, yes. Okay. And then you say, I don't understand how we are letting her continue to leak stories and do this to us. Do you see that? Yes. Who is her? I presume I meant Ms. Lively's team. Okay. And then you ask Melissa Nathan to walk you through it. And then I want you to read Melissa Nathan's response on the next page. Do you want me to keep reading past page 2? No, you don't need to. Okay. So she tells you at the top, sure. Firstly, I am also incredibly frustrated. Do you see that? I do. Then she goes on to say, a PR should never be part of a story, but I also work with many people who are in trouble and protect them. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Was it your understanding from this text message or any other conversation you had with her about this topic that she was also frustrated by the publication of the Hollywood Reporter article? Justin. I'm reading that here now. So it appears she was frustrated. Do you remember her conveying to you that she was frustrated by it? I just hear, I don't remember outside of this. I was on a plane at the time, so we didn't speak. Okay. Did you speak to her outside of this text message about the Hollywood Reporter article? I don't know. Do you recall any phone or in-person conversations with her about the Hollywood Reporter article? Definitely not in person. I don't I don't remember any phone calls about it. I feel like I feel like this was me venting. So this was probably the conversation that we had. Okay. And you're essentially asking her, like, tell me why this isn't a bad look for me, right? Objection. I think I'm trying to understand all of this. I oftentimes reach out to my team to say, help me understand this. I have a feeling about something. I don't like this. Make it go away. I'm joking. Make me feel better about it. What does this mean? What is this? And I'm not a PR expert, Ms. Shah. And would you agree with me that she did try to make you feel better about it? It appears that she did try. She's essentially saying, this is not a huge deal. It doesn't look terrible for you, right? Yeah, she's saying it's very normal, but that people have crisis PR. But it seems to me that she also said that it's not normal for PR to be part of a story. So, and if you look down to the fourth paragraph starting, Jen knows, do you see that? Jen knows, yes. She said, Jen knows. I spoke for an hour on the phone from 12 to 1 a.m., my time. She swears she had nothing to do with it, but I know someone placed this. Do you see that? I do. Did you have a suspicion that Jen Abel had placed this? No. Did you have a suspicion that Stephanie Jones had placed this? I had a suspicion that this was Blake's team placing this. Did you have a suspicion that Melissa Nathan had placed this? No. And here, she's essentially communicating to you, I'm frustrated by this. Someone placed this. It wasn't me, right? I think maybe when I first reached out to her, I may have been confused and wondered why my team might place this or if it was a leak. I don't really remember. I just remember it being such a weird headline. But no, I never suspected that Jen placed it. Did you ever suspect that Melissa placed it? Not in a negative way. I think if I reached out, I was confirming that no one from my team would brag about me having a crisis PR. I didn't think that was something worth bragging or making an announcement about. Did you get confirmation from your team or comfort from your team that no one from your team had leaked this information? I believe I did. I believe this is part of that. This message that Melissa is writing to you is part of the confirmation that you were getting that your team didn't have any part in leaking this information, right? I believe so. Okay, and then she goes on to say, it doesn't make you look bad. Do you see that? Yes. You understood from this that she was trying to reassure you that this wasn't a bad look for you, right? I imagine that's what she was doing. Okay. And then she said, all the reporters like and trust me. which is why when they called me, they took out all of the social media stuff and did a straight story as they wouldn't kill it. Do you see that? I do. Do you have any understanding of what she meant by they took out all the social media stuff? No, because even just reading it a second ago, I think I missed that too. Sometimes my reading comprehension isn't great. No, I have all the reporters like and trust me, which is why they called me. I have no idea what she's talking about. Did you have an understanding, as of this time, that she had spoken to reporters at the Hollywood Reporter or about this article? No. Did you have any understanding about, at the time, that she had tried to influence the article or kill it? No, I think I missed that completely. Okay. Is this the type of negative association with Melissa Nathan and her past clients and tactics that you think Steph was warning you about before she hired you? Before you hired Melissa? Objection! I can't speculate to what she was worried or warning me about. Ms. Shah. Because you never spoke to her about it yourself? Yeah, I never did. Okay. Did Melissa Nathan ever tell you that she, in fact, was responsible for the leak that culminated in this story? She never did. Did she ever tell you that she was lying to you when she told you that she was incredibly frustrated by this? She did not. Did she ever tell you when she said, I know someone placed this, that she actually knew who had placed it? She obviously did not. Did she ever tell you that it was one of her friends? Like before, she didn't tell me anything except what I see here. Okay. If those things were true, are those things you would have wanted her to tell you at the time when you reached out to ask her about it? Objection! I would imagine so, yes. Ms. Shah, okay. I'm going to show you, pull tab 40 please. Do you want me to hold on to this? You don't have to. Thanks. Ms. Shah, it's a text thread between you, Melissa Nathan, and Jen Abel, also dated August 14th, 2024. Bait stamp Nathan _ several zeros 4552. Uh-huh. Turn for me to page that's stamped at the bottom, please. Can I just read before then too? Sure. What was the page you wanted me to look at? It's the page you're on. Uh-huh. So you're sending a screenshot to Jen and Melissa of a text that your old assistant, Will, sent to you, right? Yes. Did you read the text? I did. And in that text, he's essentially expressing to you that it's a bad look for you what came out in the Hollywood Reporter story, right? Objection! Yes. Ms. Shah. Okay. And you were passing that along to Jen and Melissa to what? Seek their feedback on that text? I don't remember why I sent it. I just remember it didn't feel good. Why didn't it feel good? Who's on this text, by the way? Oh, it's Melissa. I mean, I'm being talked about in public, and that sucks. And he's telling me that he thinks that it looks like I'm trying to cover something up. And he wants to just share with me because he knows my heart. And and I didn't want people to think that because it wasn't true. And isn't this the kind of association exactly what Stephanie Jones was warning you about when she advised you not to hire Melissa Nathan? Objection. Again, I don't know what Stephanie Jones was exactly referring to, so I can't answer that. You understood that she had said to you that being associated with a crisis communication professional like Melissa Nathan could be used against you because of that association, right? I remember it at one of those texts you showed me. And here is at least one independent source expressing that same view to you now, right? Yes. Okay. Were you bothered by this? Objection. I think I was. Okay. Can you think of another example of a director of a film hiring crisis PR during the promotion and release of the film related to the promotion and release of the film? I don't. I can't think of an article where anyone who hires crisis PR publicizes it. My question was, can you think of a single example of a director who hired crisis PR during the promotion and release of a film? Objection. In your industry. Do you mean that I know of a director who hired crisis PR, or that I read an article of a director who hired crisis PR? Either one. Can you think of any other example that you can think of where a director of a film hired crisis PR during the promotion and release of that film? A director of a film hired crisis PR? As I sit here now, right now, I can't think of a director that I would know that hired crisis PR. Okay, pretty unique situation in the industry as far as you're aware. Objection! I'm sorry, what was the question? Is that a pretty unique situation in your industry as far as you're aware? For what? That a director would hire a crisis PR in connection with the promotion and release of a film he was directing or she was directing? I don't know, because I don't think normally people find out when people hire crisis PR. But you can't think of a single other example. I can't right now, no. Okay. Tab 83, please. Done with this one? Actually, let's look at it for a second more. Just flip forward to the pages ahead of what we were just talking about, from the beginning of the text thread, the pages thread, sorry. What is the Bates number? Start at the beginning of the document 4552. Okay. Am I correct that you and Jen and Melissa are talking about, generally speaking, what is going on with publicity around you and the film and this issue and how to handle it? Objection! I think there was more articles coming out that she was sharing and giving me context about. And here we're talking about the trainer and my back. That's from what I see. Okay. On the first page, the first text you wrote, just woke up, texting Jennifer. With all the text I'm getting worried about me. I imagine this truce didn't last. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Do you recall getting texts that morning or the day before that were concerned about you? I remember going to sleep. I don't know if I was on a plane or where. I don't remember where I was, but there were a lot of people asking if I was okay. And they were asking you if you were okay because they had read the Hollywood Reporter article about you hiring Johnny Depp's crisis publicist, right? I don't know that they were what they had read. I don't know how many articles there were, but I know that people were worried about me. Was it your understanding that that was at least in part generated from the Hollywood Reporter article? Or you think it was just a coincidence and out of the blue? Objection. I had no idea what it was about. That's why I was texting Jennifer, and I make reference to a truce between the two PR teams. And what did you understand about that truce? That they would not be planting any negative or untrue stories, and that we would not be talking to any media. Okay, and you understood that that's a truce, and that had been made between Melissa Nathan and Leslie Sloan. Is that right? That's what was told to me. Okay, and you understood as of this time that both Melissa Nathan and the tag team and Jennifer Abel and the Jonesworks team were interfacing with reporters about the incoming or published stories that were happening around the film and you. Is that right? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? Sure. I'm trying to get a sense of what you understood the tag team and Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel to be doing around this time, vis-a-vis publicity. You understood that Melissa Nathan had reached out to Leslie Sloan and formed some sort of truce. Is that right? Yes. Okay. You understood that Melissa Nathan was monitoring and handling any incoming PR inquiries. Is that right? I think I had believed that both her and Jen were doing that. Okay, you understood that Melissa Nathan was interfacing with reporters as necessary on any of these stories, right? Interfacing, like communicating with? Communicating with, sure. Yeah. My understanding was that if someone reached out to her, then she would obviously answer that or communicate with them in whatever way a PR person communicates. And by someone, you meant a reporter, I would imagine. And by she, you meant Melissa Nathan or Jennifer Abel. Okay, did you understand that Melissa Nathan and or Jennifer Abel were actually speaking to reporters, whether on background or otherwise, around this time? In what capacity? On your behalf? Well, I imagine so. We were still promoting the movie, so, and you understood that both Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel were speaking to reporters on your behalf at this time. I'm not sure if I ever thought about who was speaking to who. Okay. Did you want me to finish? Was there something I didn't answer? No. Okay. Were you finished with your answer? I believe so. Okay, 83, please. Fair to say that you did not view the Hollywood Reporter article as a positive for you when it came out. I think that's fair to say. Fair to say you would have been pretty pissed if you had learnt that Melissa Nathan had in fact leaked the information that resulted in that article, right? Objection. I can't imagine I would have been happy about that. Ms. Shah. All right. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 10. It's a text thread between Melissa Nathan, Ashley, and Amy Chozick, dated August 13th, 2024. Bates stamped Nathan _ several zeros 1221. through this for me and tell me if you've ever seen this before. No, I have never seen this. I don't have to flip through it. Sorry, I gave you the wrong one. Do you know who Amy Chozick is? I do not. Do you know if she's a reporter? I do not. Okay, do you know who Ashley is? I do not. Do you know if she's one of Melissa Nathan's good friends? I do not. Okay, on the first page of this, there's a text from Amy Chozick and then a text from Melissa Nathan that says, this is the good bit, everyone. We're getting to the good bit. I'm just reading the chat. Want to start a drinking game? Guess which word? Objection. There is a lot of objection. Okay, Melissa Nathan. This is Melissa Nathan's group girl chat. I'm on Zoom, but we need to pin Amy through me to the wolves. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And then Amy says, I didn't know that Josh would put it on the wires. Do you see that? I do. And then Amy says, my money is on Melissa against the wolves anyway. Do you see that? I do. And then Melissa says, stop sucking up. By the way, I looked up Amy Chozick, just in case you're wondering, and she's a political journalist. And Ashley, I think, is also a journalist that Melissa has known for years, I think. Amy says, I should be your publicist. Hire me. Do you see that? I do. And Melissa says, done. 0.00 per year. Do you see that? I do. Now, this text thread is on the same day as the Hollywood Reporter article was published. Is that a question? No. Are you aware of whether or not they're talking about the Hollywood Reporter article that named Melissa as your crisis PR? Objection. He just said that he's never seen this before. I've never. Can you move to something that he actually has knowledge of? No. I'm going to ask him the questions. I'm going to ask him. Is it okay if I read the document? Of course. Okay, I've read it. Do you now understand that they were joking about the Hollywood Reporter article that identified Melissa as your crisis PR? Objection. It appears to be the case. Okay. Flip with me to the page marked 1222 at the bottom. Okay. Do you see where Amy Chozick at around 7:40 says, I told our friend Josh that Melissa is a boss and has a cool client. Josh told his wife, who is a very prominent publicist. Sarah somehow told the Hollywood Reporter, and now they are doing a story on Mel. Do you see that? I do. You understand? This is how the Hollywood Reporter got that story. It appears that is what Amy is saying. Flip the page to 1223. You see a screenshot texted by Melissa of a conversation between her and Pam. Do you see that? I do. You don't need to flip back to the article, but I'll represent to you that Pam is Pam McClintock, who wrote the Hollywood Reporter story on Melissa. Okay. And you see they're texting. Good to chat. Melissa says, just checking in to see if I need to look out for this article, and if so, when? And then Pam says, I was just texting you. Story is very fair and going soon. Melissa says, thank you. Do you see that? Yes. Were you aware that Melissa had spoken on Background with the Hollywood Reporter ahead of the story being published? I was not. Were you aware that she was managing coverage in the Hollywood Reporter story about her before the story was being published? I was not. Amy Chozick writes, perfect. Do you see that? Oh, sorry, down here? Yes. And if you flip the page, they are talking about what publication? THR. Ooh, exciting. THR is the Hollywood Reporter, by the way. Ooh, exciting. I think so. Do you see that? Yes. Were you aware that Melissa and her friends were boasting and joking about how good this article was going to be for Melissa at the time? Objection. I wasn't aware of this, so no. Because Melissa never told you any of this, did she? Objection. I think I testified to what Melissa told me earlier, which was not this. So, okay. If you flip the page to 1225, you'll see that Melissa texts the Hollywood Reporter story to this group thread when it goes up. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Okay. And then Ashley says, oh, that's really good, Mel. Like, really good. Do you see that? I see it. And then Amy says, boom. This is good. Right? Yes, I see it. And then Amy, lower below, says, you are going to hear from all the problematic men. Dick pick a palooza. Ashley says, men are always the problem. You're in the right game. Do you see that? I do. What do you think of this, seeing it now? Objection. I think it sounds like a group of female friends talking to each other about an article. You've got to hand it to Justin. He's doing very good poker face here. Are you pleased to see that Melissa was joking with her friends about the article that was causing you consternation at the time? Objection! I'm not pleased. I don't think that's the word, but are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article for you and what it meant, she didn't tell you any of this? Objection! I'm sorry, are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article for you and what it meant, she didn't tell you any of this? Objection! I'm sorry, are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article for you and what it meant, she didn't tell you any of this. Objection! I'm sorry. Are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article to me, sorry, I can't, they keep repeating it. Are you pleased by the fact that when you asked Melissa, explain this article to me and what it means, she didn't tell you any of this? Objection! Again, I wouldn't say I was pleased. No. Are you pleased to be lumped in amongst Melissa's friends with a group of all the problematic men that need Melissa's help? Objection. I would hope that they weren't thinking I was one of the problematic men, but that she was going to hear from all of the problematic men. I'm really sorry to laugh. Then it says, Dick Picker Palooza. So, whatever that means. Do you understand from this that essentially what they're saying is this is an article about how Melissa has helped Johnny Depp in his abuse trial against Amber Heard and is now helping you in retaliation in relation to the allegations by Blake Lively against you. And so now she's going to be hearing from all of the problematic men. Objection. I believe one could infer that that was what they were talking about. Do you see Melissa anywhere in this text? Thread saying, what are you talking about? Justin is not a problematic man. Objection! Not in the pages that you gave me. Ooh, shots fired. Instead, if you look at 1226, you will see that Ashley says, Blake Lively noting Melissa's name, haha. Then Amy says, Joaquin Phoenix is calling. And then Melissa says, because she's got a dirty mouth, I effing wish. Right? I see that. Yeah, instead she gets the Chainsmokers and Logan Paul. Do you have a view from this text thread about whether or not Melissa thought the publication of this article was going to be good for her business? Objection. I can't guess on what Melissa was thinking or feeling at that time. Do you think it would have been fair for people to infer from the fact that you chose to hire Melissa Nathan that you are now one of a group of problematic men that she tended to work with? Objection. Do I think it would be fair for people to infer? I think people's opinions are fair. I mean, I can't control people's opinions. Do you think that would be a fair inference for people to draw from the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, who had also worked with other problematic men? Objection. I think that would be fair. I think in this case, yeah. Do you think you're a problematic man? Objection. I don't. Not in any respect. Objection. I'm not sure how to answer that. With a yes or no, I don't. Okay. Do you think that this is the type of association looking back with hindsight, that Steph Jones was trying to warn you about when she warned you not to hire Melissa Nathan? Objection again. I don't know everything that was in Stephanie Jones's head, but I think that could be a fair thing to think. You said you felt at the time that Stephanie Jones had an agenda in warning you against Melissa Nathan. Do you remember that? I do. Seeing this, and in hindsight, do you still think she had an agenda, or do you think she was trying to protect your interests? I don't. I can't know what she was truly doing. I just know that the feeling that oh, it cuts off. That's so annoying. Okay. We have another deposition. Let me just get it up. I'm getting the hang of this. Okay, so that one has to go. Remove. And then there we go. There we go. So again, video deposition of Justin Baldoni recorded on Monday, October 6th, 2025. And there's a lot of redacted at the beginning. Let me just see if we've got any. Did they do any behavioral analysis? You know what I can do today, guys? I can actually put comments up. Was anybody else? Was anybody else completely like, what the F about that Hollywood Reporter cover, or was it Variety? The one that made, like, you know, Blake look like an Amazon and Baldoni running from her, that pisses me off. Yes! That was so weird. Honestly, I know people are like, when I say people, look, what's become clear this week, it's undeniable. They were paying these people to place articles and to seed comments. So if you still don't believe that, I just really don't know what to tell you. But those people still believe that there's a bias in the press. If anyone gives any sort of balance about what happened with what Blake Lively was doing, they're immediately told that they're biased towards her. But yeah, those articles were all, if you ask me, sus AF. Like, none of them are really taking up for the problem we face as women. Let's be honest about it. You want to know the behavioral analysis they did on his video deposition using AI? Is that allowed? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't think AI should be used at all. In fact, I have some suspicions about AI already. They really messed up the Drake case. Now, Blake Lively and Drake have the same attorneys. That is the weird thing about it. Because a lot of people who don't like Drake, just for that reason, don't like Blake Lively, even though they don't know anything about the case. But Drake had zero evidence in his defamation suit against UMG to prove that artificial engagement was used by Kendrick Lamar. However, in this situation, we have a lot of evidence. Like, they're literally telling each other they're doing it. There's stuff about suppressing and SEO signatures and all this like real digital tech language that they've been using. You cannot, I mean, anyone with real intelligence is gonna understand what that means, I think. But yeah, so I think that using AI to scan the internet for you in a lawsuit is a really bad idea. It really is. And there's another attorney that's involved in some of the cases against P. Diddy. Blackman, I can't remember his first name. I mean, he doesn't seem like the most competent attorney, to be honest with you. I think he took on way too much. But the Lil Rod suit against P. Diddy, I think it has a lot of validity. And to be fair, it was the first suit that came out after the Cassie one. And it really had so much detail with text messages and links to articles. And it really blew the window open on what Diddy's operation was up to. So I think it's really sad that he has that guy representing him. But he's been sanctioned for citing AI law cases in his documents, which is a really bad idea. So yeah. I do think he used AI because the thing is with Drake, is he thinks everyone's like him. Honestly, Drake and Justin Baldoni are like two peas in a pod. It's in their head. They think because they've done stuff, the other people are doing it. But there's literally no evidence to prove what he was saying. They went so far as to bring up these there was some guy, this is how deep I've been involved in this Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing, because they had some guy go on DJ Academic's podcast and pretend that he'd been paid to to use bots on Kendrick Lamar's stream. So where was that guy? They didn't get him because he was an imposter. It was just a joke. And the person that they did show was just some made up account online, and they had some other woman. Again, people post things online as an account. It doesn't mean they're a real person or who they say they are, and they didn't get hold of any of those people. So yeah. I know, right? She's saying what? Honestly, the things that are going on at the moment, this is why I'm so interested in this whole story, because people don't even know what's going on under their own noses. They really don't. They're watching all these content creators and literally taking their word as gospel, and they don't understand. These people are being paid. They're being given false information and they don't care. They don't fact check a thing. They'll just read it out because they know it's going to lead to them getting a lot of views on their channel. You know, that's how little integrity people have these days. We are in a crazy, crazy world. Right. That was a nice little break. Let me have a sip of water. Am I sounding okay, by the way? The lawsuit was some silly thing. Kendrick got more attention because it was all rigged. Yeah, I mean, that song basically blew up hip hop again as a whole genre. Like, that's why I took an interest in it, because at that point, hip hop was absolutely dead. And it was like the best bit of music that had come out for so long, not Drake's bits, but Kendrick Lamar. You know, if you are into hip hop is about beef. It always has been. Battle rapping, it's about making insults. So he was just mad that the song got so popular. But it was at a time when it was the year of exposure. 2024 was the year of exposure. And I believe Kendrick Lamar did a very good job on picking up on that, on picking up on the conspiracy theories, which Drake himself used against himself. He has marketed himself so deeply into teenagers that he has all these posts of him engaging with teenagers. He was doing live streams with them. He was on Roblox. If you're going to put out an image that you're like hanging around with teenagers and people make an assumption that you're a ped, then you can't be mad. And, you know, he sued UMG. That was his argument. He didn't sue Kendrick Lamar for making defamatory comments. He sued UMG because he was like, you knew this was false and you promoted it and paid for the promotion, and he didn't have any evidence. So that's why the judge was like, get the F out of here. And it was a woman judge. And it was really funny listening to her getting into the whole hip hop culture stuff, because she really got it. Right. We're going to go back to the document. Oh my God, I got a super chat. Right. We can post the super chat. Woo! Oops. I lost it. It's like a theater. Oh, I sound great. Thank you so much for that. I wasn't sure how it was going to sound. Right. Let me go back. Okay, we're going to skip past the redacted bit. Did you review any documents to help you prepare for this deposition? Oh, by the way, before I get into this, I just want to say about the roasting. So, yeah, what we've been saying all along is, when I say we, I mean, there's a few of us that have seen since August of 2025, based on the text messages that came out between Melissa Nathan and her co-workers or her employees, that she was the one suggesting that Jed Wallace be brought on board, and obviously suggested it to Baldoni's team, because they were like, oh, how much is it for the extra digital services with the placed comments and everything? And they're still trying to deny it. But it was also, more importantly, her that suggested lawyering up several times with Brian Friedman. She'd even spoken to Brian Friedman on their behalf. And again, Stephanie Jones, there's another conversation, I'm not sure if it's going to be in this bit, where she's saying, don't use Brian Friedman. And I'm shocked that even when he's shown the actual message of her saying, I planted that story, Justin Baldoni is so unaware of his mistake, or just refuses to acknowledge he's made a mistake, that he's still going along with, no, it was Stephanie Jones, she had an agenda. It is just baffling. Let's continue. Did any of these documents help refresh your recollection or memory of the events that you'd be testifying here today? No. Are you aware of whether all the documents you reviewed in preparation for this deposition were produced in this case? I would assume so. Okay. Did you go back through your phone in preparation for this deposition and review anything on your phone? No. You've attended either by Zoom or in person some of the other depositions that have taken place in this case. Is that right? You do use Apple iMessage to communicate, right? Text message. Yeah? Do you use email to communicate? Oh my God, this bit. I read it before. I get a lot of emails, but I'm not good at responding to them. I do respond at times, but it's generally pretty short. Justin, your messages are never short. Honestly, this guy lives in the biggest world of delusion I have ever come across. Do you use WhatsApp messaging to communicate? I'm on WhatsApp threads with various people. Do you use Signal to communicate? Since the lawsuit, I do, yeah. Before the lawsuit? No. Since the lawsuit, who have you used Signal to communicate with? Mostly my attorneys, the people that are the defendants, some friends. Do you use Telegram to communicate? No. Do you ever send voice notes that are 17 minutes long talking about people's boobs? Sorry. Yeah. Do you ever record phone calls that you're a participant in? I certainly have from time to time. Do you do that frequently? No. Did you ever record any phone calls or Zooms with the participants in this case? In which case exactly? Either the Blake Lively case or the Stephanie Jones case? Yes. How many times would you estimate you recorded the phone calls or Zooms? 2 to 4? Maybe 4 times? Might be 3. Am I correct to understand that's 4 times ever that you recorded phone calls or Zooms with any of the participants or witnesses or people involved in the events that underlie either of these litigations? I don't do it often, so I imagine it was around 4. 2 to 4. I'd have to take a lot of pausing to really think about that, which I think is between 2 and 4. Why don't we say 4? How about in-person meetings? Objection! At the moment, I can't. Are you aware that your counsel produced to us last night 4 recordings? Objection. To the extent it calls for information provided by your attorneys. That appear to be recordings by you or phone calls or in-person meetings having to do with this case. Same objection. I would imagine that they would. Are you aware that they were produced last night? Objection. Directing you not to answer anything to the extent it calls for information you only know from your attorneys. I can't answer. Are you going to follow your counsel's instructions? Yes, ma'am. Do you recall recording a phone call between you and any of the following? Ange Janetti, Josh Greenstein, or Todd Black? Ange Janetti. I don't know if Todd Black was on it, but I know Ange, yeah. Tell me what you recall about that phone call with Ange. I haven't listened to them. what I recall is almost feeling scared, and almost feeling like what was happening was like I needed a witness, because what was happening was just it felt kind of crazy, but I don't remember the content of the call. I assume it had to do with figuring out how to get through a difficult shoot. So it was a work call. Sorry, I'm just translating. What was it at the time that felt kind of crazy to you? I don't know exactly what call or when it was recorded, so I don't know if I can answer that without more details. Do you remember why you recorded that call? Again, I just need to know what call you're referring to. Do you have a memory of a call that you recorded with Ange Giannetti? I have a vague memory, yes. With respect to that call that you have a vague memory of, do you have any recollection of why you recorded that call? I think I felt powerless and scared and kind of lonely, I think. I'm really trying. What did you intend to do with that recording? Nothing. I didn't know if I would ever need it one day. Have you needed it? I haven't looked at it or listened to it, so apparently not. Did you tell her that you were recording the call? I didn't. Where were you located when you recorded the call? I don't know. I would have to know the date on the recording, and then I could try to reverse engineer it. From your vague memory of doing this, give me your best estimate of where you were located. I honestly I don't know. Is it possible that you were in California? Objection. It's absolutely possible. Where was Ange located when you recorded that call? I assume she was in California. Do you have a memory of recording any calls with Todd Black? Only if Todd Black were on a call with Ange. Where is Todd Black located? Objection! Like right now? No. In general, where does he live and work? He's often in New York. I believe he lives in LA, but he's often shooting movies. Does he maintain an office in LA? I don't know. Is it? Do you want to finish your question? No, it's all right. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know, it's all right. I was trying to ask a better question, but do you mind re-asking the question? Other than the one call we've spoken about with Ange Giannetti, do you recall recording any other calls? Yes. Okay, please tell me about those. I recorded a part of a call with Sean Levy. Who is Sean Levy? Sean Levy is a director and apparently a very close friend of Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds. What do you recall about that call? I recall he wanted to speak to me, and as we began talking, I got the feeling that he was calling to kind of adjust or course correct, which made me feel a little uncomfortable. Adjust or course correct? From what? I didn't know. What do you mean when you say adjust or course correct? Just explain that to me a little bit more, please. It felt like he was being asked to call me, like he wasn't just calling to talk or check in. And what was he calling you about? The movie It Ends With Us and Miss Lively. Was he calling you about the tensions that were arising in relation to that movie? No. So, what about the movie It Ends With Us was he calling you about? He was calling to give me advice, it appeared, on how to handle or navigate making a movie with Ms. Lively. When in time was this? I could be wrong. I believe it was April of 23. Where were you located when you recorded the call? At my office in New Jersey. Where was he located when he was speaking to you on the call? I don't know. Did you inform him that you were recording the call? I did not. Other than these two calls we've now spoken about, one with Ange Giannetti and one with Sean Levy, can you remember any other phone calls that you recorded? It's not something I do often, so no, to be precise, I can't. Does Jamie Heath often record phone calls to your understanding? I'm unaware of what Jamie does on his own time. Does Jamie Heath ever record phone calls in the course of his work for Wayfarer to your understanding? I don't know. I know he has, but I don't know if it's a regular practice. How do you know he has? Because I'm aware of at least a recording. Which recording is that? I'm aware of a recording of a WME agent or conversation that happened. An understanding of why they've been promised. Oh, we've jumped. We've jumped. Okay. We're in a new conversation. An understanding of why they've been promised ghost equity or some sort of promise of equity in Wayfarer. I believe so. Can you tell me? I will start with, here we go, we've got his life story. I will start with Ahmed. Ahmed was my former partner at Wayfarer Entertainment, which was a small production company that I had started years ago, and he's an independent producer now, but I didn't feel like I could have started Wayfarer without his help with Wayfarer Entertainment, so I gave him a small piece of my own equity. Jamie Heath took a low salary compared probably to a lot of other folks and has lived and breathed the company, and Steve and I felt he deserved a small piece of equity, and I'm still unsure if Tara Hanks officially has any or that any was promised. But when she joined, I think it was discussed, but I don't have a full memory of it. Would you say it's accurate that you and Steve Sarowitz co-founded Wayfarer Studios? Yeah, I think so. When did that happen? I believe officially it was around the time of the pandemic, so early 2020, but I know it was starting to happen, like there were conversations in 2019. I just don't know the exact date the papers were signed or things like that. And how did that come about? The starting of Wayfarer Studios? Uh-huh. I had always wanted to have the means to create movies that I thought could make a difference and help people. Pause. Oh. And Steve had a very similar worldview, and he wanted to make movies that could help people too. So we started Wayfarer. How did you come to know Steve Sarowitz? I first met Steve when he was making a film called The Gate. It was a story of the Bab, who was a central figure in the Baha'i faith, and we were introduced because he said he didn't know what he was doing and he needed some guidance. And so I helped him out and we became friends and we have a shared faith. Do you know approximately when this was that you were introduced to him? I don't. I feel like maybe 2016 or 2017. Would you say there's a common thesis or I don't know. And I don't know how we would quantify that. I don't believe so. Are you the co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios? I am. Do you hold any other titles with respect to Wayfarer Studios? I do not. And what are your responsibilities as co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios? Mostly thinking of the future direction of where I would like to see the company going. I assist with creative. That's pretty much it. Do you have any responsibilities with respect to the financials of Wayfarer Studios? No. Do you have any responsibilities with respect to the day-to-day operation of Wayfarer Studios? No. Would you say that Sarowitz is the money guy and you're the creative force behind Wayfarer Studios? Sarowitz is quite creative, but I can't think of any right now. In any other role than an attendee? I started speaking in my 30s, and I don't know if I ever spoke at one or not. I think we're jumping around. I'm really confused. Oh yeah, we went from page 43 to page 51. Wow, I can't wait. I wonder if we're going to hear this whole thing in full. I can't think. Let me check the chat. Shout out to Biggie and Tupac. Defo. Right. I started speaking in my 30s, and I don't know if I ever spoke at one or not. Do you know a gentleman by the name of Labid Aziz? Yes. Who is he? Labid, yes, was the original COO of Wayfarer Studios. And when did he cease operating in that role? I think about a year into his role. Was he a good COO? I'm not sure I'm qualified to judge what a good COO is. Did you ever have any concerns personally with him in his role as COO? I did. What were those concerns? I felt he would often promise things in deal making that weren't possible. He was a bit of a wheeler and dealer, and there were certain instances where I did not feel he was telling the truth. Can you identify any of those incidents for me? I just remember getting phone calls saying like, Labid said this or Labid promised this, and being very confused because that wasn't something that he could be promising. It was important to me that we were always honest and that we didn't enter into deals with people and make promises that we couldn't keep. And I didn't always feel that integrity didn't always feel he operated with that integrity. Can you give me any specific examples? The one I can think of right now is my dad is also in the entertainment business. He was one of the founding fathers of what is called product placement. And I always wanted to work with my dad, and it's a sweet relationship. But I remember my dad told me that he had promised Labid, or Labid had promised him, that he could build out an entire product placement division of Wayfarer Studios, and that he would put him on a salary. And I think he got my dad's hopes up, which my dad, was 70, and that wasn't ever part. Oh, it's cut off again. I just want to say, like, the family nepotism is real in this business. He's got his dad, he's got his wife, and he's got his buddies. And his buddy, Adam. Is it Adam? Okay, we're back to text messages with Stephanie Jones, and it's page 72. Who? Uh-oh. Text messages with Blake? No. Text messages with Stephanie Jones? I don't believe I shared any of those with Mitts. So, in case you don't know, I read through the entire timeline spreadsheet documentary over 2 episodes that he sent to Mitts, or that Mitts put together with Jamie. Text messages with Jen Abel? No. Text messages with Melissa Nathan? I didn't have any text messages with Melissa Nathan. Text messages with whom then? My memory. Text messages with my health coach. Text messages with Don Saladino. Who's Don Saladino? Who is your health coach? Jennifer Benson. What does she generally do for you? She's not my current health coach. What should she generally do for you when she was your health coach? She tried to keep me healthy. How? Supplements, peptides, helping my immune system. What about your text messages with your health coach? Did you believe at the time would help you explain the truth of what happened? If memory is correct, I was being accused of many things, but one of them was like putting Ms. Lively on a phone call with a dietitian, which was a lie and an extreme distortion of the truth. Who is Dan Saladino? He's a personal trainer. Is he Ms. Lively's personal trainer? I would assume so. And what about your text messages with him? Did you believe at the time would help you demonstrate the truth of what had happened? The communication between him and myself that showed he was also working with me. Oh, I showed a text, well, I read out a post from him, or an Instagram post where he said that was categorically untrue. How many screenshots do you recall sending to Mitts? I wish I could tell you. I don't know. More than 2? Yeah. More than 5? Probably. More than 10? That was a very hard time. I will say yes. Are you aware that Wayfarer... Oh, wait, I just read that. Right, we've done that. We've done that. Oh, no, we haven't. Sorry. Okay, we haven't done this. Page 278. Exhibit 18, marked for identification. Ms. Shaw, is this the idea from your partner, Steve Sarowitz, about flipping the narrative that you were just discussing flipping the narrative about? Can I have a second to read it, please? Of course. Okay. So is this the substance of the idea that you were just talking about that came from your partner, Steve Sarowitz, about flipping the script? Yes. And that included flipping the script from Ryan saying, as read, script was a disaster and he saved the movie, to something about Ryan claiming the female hired was a feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc. Do you see that? The female writer they're talking about is a woman called Christy Hall. Yes, this idea that this was a female writer and a female film, and that what Ryan Reynolds was saying was essentially misogynistic, did that come from Steve Sarowitz? Objection. I think I said here that my partner Steve had asked about this, so I was passing that along. Okay, I've actually got this message. Let me see if I can find it. One sec. BRB, bear with. Oh my God. I have some horrifying screenshots I have to look through. I know I had it for last week and then I didn't use it. Don't leave me, I'm still here. Okay. So, on the 15th of August, Melissa messaged Candice Trunzo she's an editor at the Mail, at the Daily Mail online. And she's replying in a message to Melissa saying that these are the ideas for her stories. So she said, the other is that RR was a scab by rewriting part of script during strike. I don't think our readers are going to care too much about that, but they do care that Baldoni reacts to something. And that interview gives him the perfect opt, in my opinion. So just to let you know that Melissa did try and pitch that story. And then I have, oh no, I don't. Maybe I don't have it. I do have it somewhere, but I thought I could find it really quickly and I thought I was being really efficient and I'm not. Okay. Oh, I'm really sick of these people's text messages, honestly. Okay, let's just read the deposition. It was something where he was messaging her and she's like, I'm on a call. I'm on a closed set. I can't talk. And he was like, it was just real quick. My partner Steve came up with this idea that you could flip about them crossing picket lines and rewriting the script when it was supposed to be written by a woman. That was the gist of the message. So where was I? I don't know. Okay, other than the reporting that was going on, did I miss something? Oh, sorry. So he's spinning it as, that was passed on to me. I remember his exact words. Yeah, it was passed on to you, but you definitely sent Melissa the message from both of you, like, oh, Steve has this idea. You didn't say, like, I don't want nothing to do with it. And you actually used the words, we could flip it or something like that. Did you use any judgment about whether or not that was a good idea before you passed it along? Objection. I think it's implied in him saying the script was a disaster. So I just pass it along. I didn't disagree with him. You didn't disagree with Mr. Sarowitz's idea. Is that what you mean? I didn't disagree with Mr. Sarowitz, with what Mr. Sarowitz was saying in terms of what Ryan was inferring when he called the script a disaster, meaning that Ryan was essentially acting. Okay, other than the reporting that was going on at the time about Mr. Reynolds, about what Mr. Reynolds or Miss Lively had said about this, do you have any other basis to understand what they had actually said? Okay, so what it was is she accidentally on a red carpet interview said something about my husband actually wrote that. And they were all like, shock, horror. Ryan Reynolds wasn't a writer. But I think she accidentally said it. I don't think it was as nefarious as what they're trying to make it at all. In fact, if you look at their timeline, there's an awful lot of stuff about Blake Lively rewriting the script every day. I'm not sure. Okay, was this also part of this scenario planning that you were discussing? I am unsure. How does flipping the narrative in the way that is suggested here reconcile with the view that you should be putting out only positive stories? Because it has to do with a defensive measure. So, if we're talking about something that was an offensive measure, then flipping an existing narrative would not be us doing anything offensively. It would be us defending. And again, this was me passing something on. Do you recall testifying earlier about whether Melissa Nathan ever encouraged you to leave Jones Works with Jen Abel when Jen Abel left? At this point, I remember some of that, and I would love for you to refresh my memory more. By the way, I would say it would be completely unheard of for you to pay someone 45 grand a month to do your PR and then start telling them about what an A-list couple has been doing. Unless you didn't want to spread about them. And by your own words, Justin, your religion, you're not meant to be gossiping. That's what I don't like about him. There's so many things I don't like about him. But the fact that he's such a little snake, like he just can't even admit to anything. Where was I? Oh yeah. Do you recall testifying? Oh, I would love for you to refresh my memory more. I think she represented The Rock, and she had said on that call that Mr. Reynolds had like terrorized The Rock or something to that extent. Something about a letter. Oh, this is more tea. Okay, let me read this. She had said on that call, Mr. Reynolds had like terrorized The Rock or something to that extent. Something about a letter. I don't remember the details, but something about like he had written a letter and it was like they wouldn't do press together. I don't know. It was a lot of gossip. I don't do gossip. I'm just a Baldoni. But that's why I remember laughing because I was just like, oh, so let me tell you some tea, guys. The Rock and Vin Diesel. I think that's what they're talking about. Guess whose attorney Vin Diesel's is? Or guess who's Vin Diesel's attorney is? Would you believe if I told you it's Brian Friedman? Oh my God. What are the chances? Justin, do you ever feel like you've been set up? Wow. It's one thing paying for supplements that are probably not doing anything for you, but this? Woo! Yeah, as I said earlier, it kind of felt like, oh, don't worry, she's this and that. It will be fine. The movie's going to come out and it will be awesome. And everybody's had a bad experience with her. It was like that kind of cool. And did you feel it's funny, isn't it? Because the only people who've actually had a bad experience with her is Shusty Floor. Shusty Floor, a complete nobody. And that was nearly 10 years ago. And then allegedly 2 cast members of a series she was on like years ago. My God. They had to dig deep. And did you feel like she believed what you were relaying to her about your experiences on that set? Yes, I don't remember sharing much, but what I did share, I just shared the truth. And she, yeah. What do you remember about sharing with her about your experiences on set? I specifically remember sharing the situation with our trainer and asking him about what he thought Miss Lively might weigh when we shot the scene where I had to pick her up because of my back. Apparently, there wasn't even a scene where he did have to pick her up, so there's that. And how then they confronted me the next day, and how this trainer evidently then went and told her that I was asking him about her weight or something. And then how that became this big thing, because it is a big thing. It is a really big thing. And then they sat me down, and I just remember her kind of not being able to believe that that was even a thing. I believe I shared with her that I had made a comment about the way Jenny Slate looked in her wardrobe. And then I used the word sexy. And I think she started responding by joking about how, again, I don't want to, if it's okay, repeat the words that she said, but generalizing the women and their fragility. And then I shared, I think I talked about the wardrobe, how hard it was with the wardrobe, and just that it felt like it was just a very hard experience. Like, that's kind of what I remember. Do you remember sharing with her anything else regarding your experiences on set in that call? And that's the end of that one. Right. I've been on for 2 hours. I told you the tea. There is apparently one more document, but we're going to talk about Brian Friedman. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Or is it that one? That's the one I'm doing. Yeah, I don't have the last document because I was like, this is probably going to take long enough. But cliffhanger, we will be bringing you more content about Brian Friedman. We have some inside info. So yeah, this has been Go Do Your Own Research. I hope you've enjoyed my reading of Justin Baldoni's Deposition. Oh, I know what the other one is. The other one is when he is told that they're laughing about his religion. Yeah. I think he's been shamed enough for one reading, so I'll leave it at that for tonight. And I hope to see you all very, very soon. Have a lovely rest of the evening.